friends, welcome to my booktube channel. That sounds very surreal and a little crazy to say out loud, but I'm really excited to be here with you wherever and whenever you are. I am doing the quintessential booktube newbie tag, or whatever it's called. I'm feeling excited, nervous. I hope you are all doing really well. Hopefully less nervous for me as I'm feeling for myself. I even made myself a little cocktail for some liquid courage. I made a Moscow Mule. I know it's in the wrong kind of cup, but this is my good luck cup because it reminds me of my favorite vacation that I've taken recently. My family, we went to Maine, into Bahaba. Don't kill me for how I pronounce that. I know it's probably a little cringe, but it was from a restaurant where we tried oysters for the first time, and it was an experience. So we commemorated it with the glass. So anyways, that's not why you're here. So I've got my little notebook right here with the questions in it. So if you see me looking to the side, I'm just referencing the notes. So we'll go ahead and start with number 1, which is, why did you start this channel? I think the simplest answer is that I love talking about books. I love making bookish friends, talking about books with friends. So I feel like this is a great place to kind of channel all of my bookish enthusiasm, if you will. I'm also excited to kind of archive all of my reading to see how it changes over time, something to look back to and reference, like especially when I'm thinking about, I don't know, books that I DNF'd or maybe series I didn't complete. Like, I don't know, I think it'll be interesting to be able to look back at all that stuff. So that's why I'm here. Number 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? Honestly, I have no idea what the right answer to this is. The right answer for me is, I mean, like everybody, right? I have my own unique lived experiences. So through that, hopefully a different perspective on books. I will say I am not an English major. I'm not an aspiring writer. I am like just your average Joe when it comes to reading. And so hopefully that will lead to some relatable content. Number 3 is, what are you most excited for with this channel? And I think the thing I'm the most excited to do are reading vlogs. They're by far my favorite thing to watch on BookTube. So I'm very excited to give that a go. I'm really excited to connect with people. Like I said, I love talking about books. I love reading people's reviews. I love watching BookTube. I love buddy reading with people. So I'm hoping to make some really fun connections with either fellow booktubers or just like regular people like I was minutes before I filmed this video. So I think, yeah, I'm really excited to do reading vlogs and yeah, to make bookish friends. Number 4 is, why do you love reading? For me, really, the answer is escapism. I have a very, very emotionally draining and stressful job and career. And so I use reading as a huge coping mechanism. And I really want to escape into different experiences, worlds, stories, like anything that is separate and different from my day-to-day lived experience. So I read to escape. Period. I will say I do also love to read to learn. I don't read as much nonfiction or memoirs as I would like to, but they do tend to be some of my favorite reads at the end of the year. I love being in somebody else's shoes and like walking through the world alongside them. I feel like in order to grow as a human, it's important to also read so that I can, learn something new outside of my lived experience or a subject that maybe I've never come in contact with. So we also love reading to learn. Now, I didn't, when I was younger in school, but now I do. All right, number 5 is what book or book series got you into reading? When I was younger, I would have to say the answer to this is probably the Magic Treehouse series. As a kid, I remember staying up late with my siblings, reading those books together and like talking about what we would do on those same adventures. I feel like that was one of the first times that I really genuinely looked forward to reading, and found myself like talking and thinking about books with other people. So that was really fun. I also loved The Phantom Tollbooth as a kid. I have read that book upwards of like 10 to 12 times. I remember like sitting in my closet, like drawing on the walls, sorry mom, and like reading and immersing myself in that magical world. Also, the writing was so clever. And as I've read it as an adult, I've picked up on even more of the play on words and puns. And it is so good. If you haven't read it, I highly, highly recommend it. All right, number 6 is what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I would ask if you want to buddy read something together, maybe. Maybe I would ask if they, I don't know, if they made any like rookie mistakes, or if there's anything that they wish they could go back to their like early booktube years to redo. That might be what I would ask. All right, number 7 is what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Honestly, I feel like telling my friends and family that I've started a booktube channel, I am anxious about being on camera, and I feel like it's gonna be really cringe when I know that people I know are watching these, if that makes sense. So I feel like that's gonna be kind of hard about starting. All right, number 8 is when did you start reading? I'm interpreting this as like, when did I really lean into my bookish self, maybe? I did not start reading for pleasure until probably after grad school. It took me a really long time to kind of recover from just the dense required reading that comes along with being in school. And so I would say in my like early to mid 20s, I really came into like new adult books, like those old school Kindle and Kindle Unlimited romances were my jam. When we would go on vacations, I just remember speeding through those. They were really what jump-started my interest and my love of reading as an adult anyways. All right, number 9 is where do you read? Because I am a huge audiobook listener reader, I really read everywhere. I love reading in the car, reading while I'm walking, reading while I'm on my bike, whether I'm cleaning or organizing. I love that audiobooks make reading more accessible for me and just like the day-to-day chaos of my life. So I can listen to those in theory anywhere. But I would say if I'm reading my Kindle or a physical book, I do love to read on my balcony. I've got a nice little setup out there, and I can kind of look over, I don't know, the trees and my flowers. It's a nice little spot. Sometimes I read in bed, but I tend to get too sleepy, so I don't read there very often. And my couch, I live in a tiny apartment, and my couch is sort of my TV spot. So if I'm reading there, I tend to get too distracted and end up turning on the TV. So it's not my favorite place to read. That was a really, I over-explained that one, but you know, I like to read everywhere is the short version of that. All right, number 10 is what kind of books do you like to read? I would say I'm a really eclectic reader. However, I definitely have like my favorite genres, the genres that I will binge for weeks and weeks and weeks. I would say in general though, like I really like nonfiction, I like literary fiction, I like mysteries and thrillers, I like romance, I like fantasy, I like some sci-fi, I like historical fiction, like the list goes pretty much on and on. The only genre that I don't find I read much at all, if ever, is horror. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, and so my imagination is too, she's doing too much. So I tend to steer clear of horror books. But aside from that, I feel like I really like a wide range of books. I also don't tend to read a lot of classics, but if I had to pick like my top genres, I would say I love fantasy, I love romance, I love fantasy romance, and probably literary fiction. I feel like those are probably my most popularly read genres, and those tend to be the books that I seek out. Number 11 is, what does your book collection look like? And I don't really know what this question is going for, but if I'm thinking about like where do I keep my books and what do they look like? I don't, like I said, I live in a small apartment, so I don't have like a big bookshelf anywhere. I kind of like put my books wherever I can find spots for them. So like my taste, my bookshelf organization is a bit eclectic and all over the place. So I think that answers that question. Okay, if I'm looking at my notes correctly, that's all the questions that there are. If you've made it this far, like Air 5, thank you for sticking around with me. Feel free to, I like when other booktubers do this, so feel free to leave the, I don't know, any of the book emojis to let me know you made it this far. Feel free to share any of your favorite books. I don't know if right off the bat you think of any books that I might like in some of my favorite genres. I love getting book recommendations. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. I literally don't care if you like or subscribe. This channel is for me, so do what you want to do. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.